I love snow.
Anyway, we have Debbie Dingell on our line, Congresswoman Debbie Dingell.
She's dreaming of a white Christmas, right?
Dearborn Democrat.
I am dreaming of white Christmas.
Thank
You
you.
guys are all
She's-
cynics.
Thank you.
dreaming-
She's on the
dreaming
right.
Not of a visit from Santa Claus, but a visit from Donald Trump in Michigan. Debbie Dingell, you and some of your fellow Democrats from Ohio, other places, you've sent out an invitation to the president to come to Michigan, come to the places where General Motors has proposed idling plants. What do you hope to accomplish with the invitation?
Well, first of all, I have to give credit to my Ohio colleagues because it was not my idea, but didn't disagree with it. Marcy Kepter, Tim Ryan, and Joyce Beatty, who represent Lordstown and are as upset as I am about what's happening, said to me, he came to both of our states. He said he campaigned. I mean, I do think that Donald Trump understood far better than Hillary Clinton did or many other people the fear and anxiety that is still in people's hearts in this state, in other auto states, about what happened in 2008 and 2009. And I also think Donald Trump, I don't agree with the way that he is implementing the trade policy. I think it's chaotic. But I also think that he understood NAFTA was a bad bill and it hurt this country. So he campaigned in these states and said, during my presidency, I will not let an auto plant close. Well, Barr kind of ruined that campaign promise. And if we can figure out, look, it's a cyclical industry. I'm not trying to manage their product plan, but I do want to know what kind of public policy we need to have to keep plants here and to stop building this constant moving to Mexico to build
the president
plants.
obviously shares your frustration and anger. Do you see that there are things he can do to keep these plants open?
I've had long talks with Lighthouser last week, calling him when I got back today after I was in multiple UAW plants all weekend, talking to a lot of the people. My biggest concern is why is General Motors building their... I mean, the most recent example is they moved the Blazer from here to Mexico last year. Mm-hmm. And the fact of the matter is Mexico's... I've got the academic study, though the UAW was just down there again. And they're paying $1.80 to $2.80 an hour down in Mexico. We need to level the playing field for workers. Ford Motor Company is producing its trucks and its SUVs in this country. And just as an aside, in a different tone, the day that General Motors made this horrific announcement and didn't handle its employees right, did it before the holidays, and they found out by the news instead of their from the plant themselves, Ford gave me a heads up earlier than it was announced publicly, but they know that I talked to my employees that my Flat Rock plant was going to lose a shift at the Mustang plant, but that every person there was going to be offered a job at another plant. They were going to make it as close to their homes as possible, and they were working to reduce anxiety, and we're working with the UAW to handle a market problem. People aren't buying the cars right now.
You did have Chrysler. The information from FCA leaked out last week. The Detroit News broke it that the Mack Avenue plant's reopening to produce a new vehicle. But that's good news.
And it is good news. And Chrysler's, waiting to give us all the details. But I see two companies really trying to keep the production in this country, and I see, yes, General Motors is building electric vehicles, but they're not the only company building electric vehicles. Ford Motor Company is building electric vehicles.
Electric vehicles they can't sell without a huge government subsidies. What's going to happen to that?
By the way, we might also talk about how General Motors wants us to take the cap off and to make it endless.
Well, why do that?
And the other companies don't want us to do it. I'm not interested in... I want to incentivize so that we can get to a carbon, and we've got to build the electric infrastructure, but I'm not interested in subsidizing. So what General Motors wants is subsidizing. We need to figure out what public policy is to incentivize. And the other companies are looking for the incentives to help the consumer.
So do you think Donald Trump will come into Detroit and Wayne and Lordstown, where these plants are.
I have no idea what he's going to do.
Have you heard anything from the White House in response?
Well, I've not talked to the president, but I've been talking to people all last week because they do. I just want to save these plants, so people are going to.
What would be the purpose of the visit? You would want him to
meet with the workers, show him that he cares, and let's strategize how we work together to save the plants.
Mm-hmm. And could he trust that when he got here, the UAW wouldn't orchestrate a Donald Trump protest?
Yes. I had a discussion with. I asked if I should sign the letter, and they will want to do anything they can to save.
You could understand why he might be reluctant.
Correct.
When would you? Did you specify when you'd need him by? You just asked him.
I did not.
Here.
I didn't even. I have to. I give. I never take credit where it's not due. I signed the letter, Marcy. Well, I did make some. I made sure that they included Maryland and Brownstown. People that haven't focused that Brownstown lost some jobs because of it, because Brownstown was building batteries that were used in the Volta at Hamtramck.
So, Debbie,
and then I had.
We had Governor Rick Snyder in to the news last week for his exit interview, and we asked him about this comment by Elijah Cummings that he wants to bring Snyder back in one more time to grill him on Flint. And Snyder said, I don't know what more there is to say. I've told them everything I know. What would be the purpose of him bringing him, of Cummings bringing Snyder back in, and why should the governor go once he's out of office?
Well, I haven't. I need to talk to Congressman Cummings. I know that Democrats continue to worry about what happened in Flint and how do we prevent it from ever happening again. So if there's always things that we all know that we think that we don't know. But I plan on talking to Congressman Cummings this week to have a better understanding.
Do you think? Do you think there's more to learn from Governor Snyder? Does this appear just like, vindictiveness? We want to
I don't
grill
think
him again.
To vindictiveness. I think Democrats want to do oversight to make sure that another Flint doesn't happen. What was the role of the federal government? Where did EPA fall down in the midst of it? What was the relationship between the federal government and the state government?
But those questions were asked last time Snyder appeared.
And I don't know what his staff has, and I'm not going to speculate, but I do think that we all need to really make sure that another Flint doesn't happen, and there's federal government responsibility, state and local responsibility, and we've got to figure out how everybody works together to keep another Flint from ever happening. But what's Governor Snyder going to do about these bills that are way out of control in Lansing and are absolutely against the will of the people and designed to, just snub the will of the people and try to keep Democrat or Republican power?
Debbie, every day it seems like the new darling of the Democratic caucus in Washington, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, has some new bizarre comment or thought to make. What are you all going to be able to sort of bring her into the realm of reality, or at least keep her from embarrassing you every time she opens her mouth?
Or at least pass the Equal Rights Amendment so she can run for president as a woman.
Okay. So the United States House of Representatives is representative. It represents the viewpoints. It's supposed to represent America. Mm-hmm. There are Alexandria, Rashida, others represent very different districts. They're young. They sometimes may misspeak. But you know what? Let me tell you about what Rashida does to me. Rashida makes me look calm. And none of you ever thought anybody could make me look calm. But she also forces me to say...
I think that's a backhanded compliment.
But she's making me be a better Congresswoman because these guys have energy. And everybody thought I would, I do get out. I try to get around. But I'm saying to my staff, that's what we look at how we do constituent relations. Yes, my staff used to yell at me. And the best thing I love about both Alexandria Alexandria and Rashida's. My staff can't yell at me anymore and tell me I do too much.
But there's 434 other Congress people in Washington, and she's getting about 60% of the airtime, and it's not serving your party well because she comes off as ill-informed, one, but second, just complete radical. Is that going to be your poster child of the...
That reminds me of Trump for the GOP, though.
She's in perspective. Is Mark Meadows who America is, or is he a perspective?
But nobody's putting him on TV every 3 hours.
Well,
She's on TV
and by the way, watch it
3
this
hours.
Week. He may be chief of staff. He may be back.
Every 3 hours, she's on TV with some other, with some other bizarre thing she's saying.
You know what? News media is fickle. They, they love to build people up, and then they love to tear them down.
That reminds me of Trump, the GOP.
That's correct. I mean, we've looked at all of this. She brings she's young, she's energetic, she's
ill-informed. She's
but so how? You know what? Can I tell you how many Republicans are ill-informed?
Yeah, but again, the TV's not on them 24/7. I mean, let's look at just over the last 3 or 4 days. She's used her position to threaten the president's son with a subpoena, which completely inappropriate. I think you would even admit that. She misread the Constitution to believe it only applies to men until we pass the Equal Rights Amendment, just on and on. Now, this morning she wants a green tax on America. I don't see how that's helping your party, Debbie.
So I welcome her perspective. Mm-hmm. We work in the Congress by votes and developing winning coalitions. I look forward to spending time with her. And look, they care. They care about the air we breathe being clean. And there's a lot of things that you've got to learn. I said to Rashida, you're coming with me to the car show, and I'm going to show you the electric vehicles that GM's making, Ford's making. It's learning. And I will make a prediction. She will not be in the news the way that she is right now when there's a whole Congress with a lot of personalities. I'll also make a prediction. Mark Meadows will be back in the air like she is shortly with another thing. The media is fickle.
I want you all to nominate Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as your presidential candidate. I
doubt that that's going to happen because, first of all, she's not 35. But
I want you to admit the Constitution so she can be.
She has a perspective. You have to. You remember when we were young and energetic?
No.
And the world was our oyster?
No. Let's hear from Ray. Ray, welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning. For Congresswoman, in the aspect of electrification, it's reported that Tesla is trying to buy a couple of plants here, or one of the plants here in Detroit. Uh-huh. Will you support that effort? I mean, would you kind of get involved with facilitating that? Or
what do you know about that, Debbie? Tesla coming to Detroit?
Well, I heard things about it late Friday. Anybody who knows me knows I was on the phone late Friday night. I'm trying to figure out what they really are interested in. I mean, General Motors is not interested in it, but if they do come here, I want to, make sure that they're going to treat workers well and pay people well. But if it's revenue and jobs, of course you talk to them. So,
right?
I put out the olive branch Friday night. Anybody who knows me knows I wouldn't have let that one sit.
Isaac, welcome to the show. You're generating a lot of calls this morning, Debbie.
Hey, Nolan. I'm Butcher Ellis, and this is Atomic Beam USA, another bright idea from Bulbhead.
Yeah, wait a minute, Isaac.
We got flashlight that features tactical technology used by U.S. Special Forces.
I'm sorry. A little bit of confusion here in the booth. Isaac, I'm sorry. What was on your mind?
Are you familiar with John F. Kennedy?
What's your question, Isaac? We didn't, we don't put you on the air to ask silly questions. What's your comment or question?
Do you think he was right when he said, don't let foreigners in your politics?
Of course we do, Isaac. What's your point?
I asked you a question. You didn't answer.
Isaac, I said, of course we do. Do you have a question for the Congresswoman?
Yes. Do she think John Kennedy was right?
Okay,
when he
Debbie.
don't-
Debbie, we get this once in a while. So Debbie, we were talking about, the caller was talking about the thought that Tesla may come here. You know, it's been a long time, or for a long time, the foreign automakers, the non-big three automakers, didn't want any part of Detroit. Be a positive if some of them started coming here, wouldn't it?
Listen, I would welcome it. And Toyota, by the way, has a very signiugent presence
R&D presence, right?
In my district in Ann Arbor, and I'm proud of it. I saw Jim Lutz last week, and I work very closely with Toyota. They are creating jobs. They're doing the R&D here, and you have to start to think differently. I was an OEM girl, domestic. The industry, so it's a global industry.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of jobs out there from a lot of different places.
That's correct.
But
I want domestic content too. So
we got to let you get back to doing your job because we're
I'm
out
going
of
back to
time
Washington
in this segment, and we're anxious to hear from you next Monday on how the lame duck unfolded. We
may still be in the middle of great drama, but I look forward to talking.
Right up to New Year's Day.
That's what I'm afraid of.
We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good day, guys.
You too.
Bye-bye.